Hello and welcome to the Daily Climate Show. Coming up, why have thousands of crabs and lobsters been washing up dead on beaches on England's northeast coast? We hear about the row that's been brewing between government, campaigners and local fishermen. The world's elite is gathering in Davos for the first day of the World Economic Forum, with debate over green subsidies top of the agenda. And British Gas announces plans to provide heat pumps for as low as £3,000 in a bid to help households shift away from gas boilers. Hello and welcome to the Daily Climate Show, where we track the changes to our world and investigate some of the potential solutions to the climate crisis. Now, a row has broken out between government campaigners and local fishermen as thousands of dead crabs and lobsters have been washing up on beaches across Teesside and North Yorkshire since 2021. Campaigners and fishermen blamed the dredging of the historically industrial River Tees for releasing a chemical that is toxic to shellfish. Well, in September last year, dredging was undertaken to deepen a new quay for the building of the Teesside Freeport, a key part of the government's levelling up agenda. The government blamed an algal bloom for the die-offs, but independent scientists blamed the dredging. A new report looking at the evidence is due to report back this month. Sky's Science and Technology editor Tom Clark sent us this from the Tees estuary.
You speak to fishermen here in the Tees estuary, they'll tell you they're in the middle of an ongoing environmental disaster. They haven't caught any crabs or lobsters since about autumn of 2021, when there was a mass mortality event. Thousands of dead crabs and lobsters being washed up on the beaches around here. An investigation by DEFRA concluded that an algal bloom of toxic algae was the most likely cause. But since then, independent scientists have come up with an alternative explanation, that it's actually toxic sediment that's been dredged from the Tees estuary and dumped a few miles offshore that has been the cause of those die-offs. And there's more evidence for that, they say, in that those die-offs have been continuing. Documents that have been seen by Sky News suggest more than 50 reports of marine life being washed up, dead or dying. And on top of that, dredging activity, and we've just seen some of it, is continuing to go on in the Tees estuary, partly for the development of the new Freeport here. Now, in response to pressure from campaigners and MPs, DEFRA has assembled an independent expert panel to review the potential causes, and that's expected to report later this month. Now, if it finds that toxic sediments could have been the cause of this die-off, that will raise important questions about whether that risk should have been known about before, because this area has been known to be contaminated for quite a long time, and also raises questions about how ongoing development can continue here safely without causing further damage to the environment.
Tom Clark there. Well, let's take a look at some of the other stories making the news today for you. And the government is proposing to introduce new measures designed to protect important marine habitats from harmful fishing methods. It says it is consulting on restrictions to the use of the so-called bottom-towed gear, whereby nets are dragged along the ocean floor by fishing trawlers. The plans mean that 40 of England's marine protected areas could benefit from greater protection by 2024. More than 100 bids have been received in the UK's latest round of offshore oil and gas licensing. The bids will now be studied, and those that go ahead could begin production in as little as 18 months. Campaigners have criticised the government for issuing new oil and gas licences, which they say isn't compatible with the UK's net zero commitments. But the government says it is committed to securing more domestic energy supplies. Britain's largest household energy supplier is hoping to help homeowners lower their emissions by making it cheaper to switch from gas boilers to heat pumps. British Gas is offering prices from £3,000 and will price match any offer by a rival company. Well, unlike gas boilers, heat pumps warm homes entirely from the electricity grid without any carbon emissions in the process. So they're widely seen as a key technology to shift British homes away from fossil-fuelled heating. Electric vehicle users could save up to £1,000 a year while lowering their carbon footprint under a new government plan aimed at making smart charging more accessible. £16 million will be spent to boost the network of units with smart charging capabilities, which encourage charging when electricity is cheaper, cleaner and in less demand to reduce pressure on the grid. And hundreds of staff working at British Volt have been made redundant after the company failed to secure a buyer. The battery startup has fallen into administration today following talks with investors over a possible sale to keep the firm afloat. The company was hit by a delay to promised government funding to build a planned battery gigafactory. Now, the World Economic Forum has begun in Switzerland with world leaders meeting in person for the first time in 2 years for the annual gathering in Davos. Financing for climate action has been at the top of the agenda for some of the forum's events on day one already, as well as green subsidies. Now, the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen outlined her plans for a Green Deal industrial plan to make it easier to push through subsidies for green industries as part of the EU's ambition to become net zero by 2050.
Climate change already comes with a huge cost, and we have no time to lose in the transition to a clean economy. The new Net Zero Industry Act will identify clear goals for European clean tech by 2030. The aim will be to focus investment on strategic projects along the entire supply chain. We will especially look at how to simplify and fast-track the permitting process for clean tech production sites.
Well, meanwhile, climate finance has been a hot topic of discussion elsewhere at the conference. Brazil's Environment Minister, Marina Silva, said promised international investments to help reduce the deforestation of the Amazon have not materialised, while the US climate envoy told a panel that not enough private investment is going towards climate action. Well, during a panel at the forum, John Kerry urged philanthropists to contribute more towards decarbonisation.
Well, the lesson I've learned in the last years, and I learned it as secretary and I've learned it since, reinforced in spades, is money, 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 money. And I'm sorry to say that. I mean, yes, technology, yes, exciting new initiatives, yes, organizing, winning races politically. I mean, what happened in the midterms in the United States is nothing less than miraculous. And it happened because young people voted. And the second most voted issue was climate. It's a huge deal. But we have to go further.
That's all for today. We're back tomorrow. Do join us then. Bye-bye.